Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to TRG Central. This is episode 0 of the Road to the Triple Crown series. Today we are proud to announce the availability of the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown subscription service for the Thoroughbred Horse Racing game, both the Windows and board game version, now available at asggames.com. So first we'll talk over a little bit about the subscription service. The subscription service will follow the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. What the service will provide is 3 main issues, 1, 2, and 3, and then an issue 0. Issue 0 is what we're calling the prep races. And issue 0 will cover all the prep races up to the Kentucky Derby. Then issue 1 will then have the horses available for the Kentucky Derby. Then issue 2, the Preakness Stakes. And issue 3, the Belmont Stakes. So in other words, to run the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown races, like issue 1 will have all the horses that participated in the prep races, along with a few other horses. It'll also cover the prep races for the fillies for their Triple Sierra Crown. And then issue 1 will cover any horses that happen to race between issue 0 and issue 1 that will be running in the Kentucky Derby. And it will also create new cards for horses that are running in the Kentucky Derby that we did not cover in the issue 0. And the same goes for issue 2. It'll be all the horses that ran between issue 1 and issue 2 that are running in the Preakness, and then any new horses that are running in the Preakness. And then the same thing will occur for issue 3 for the Belmont. Any horses that are running in the Belmont that ran between issue 2 and issue 3 will be recarded, and any horses that are in the Belmont Stakes that do not already have cards will be carded. And then you, the user, can use the set to run preliminary races or the prep races, and then follow up with slotting your own winners of the prep races into each of the Triple Crown races. Of course, the subscription service will give you the schedule that will be used for the prep races for the Road to the Triple Crown, and it also will have another schedule that'll give you the starting fields for the 3 Triple Crown races and the 3 Triple Sierra races. So that's essentially what our subscription service will cover. Now, for what's going to be involved in the Road to the Triple Crown series here on YouTube, is each episode will cover a series of races for the prep races. So let's go ahead and get the game started. And this is, of course, for the Windows version of the game. The first thing off is issue 0, which is this one. Is just going to cover the background of how each episode will have, and just go through some of the horses that are available, take a quick look at the schedules and sort through, so forth. So first thing here is we make sure that the active date of this is the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown. Right now, with no races run, so there's no point standings. As you can see, we can either do the Kentucky Derby point standings. That'll give us the top 20 horses for our Kentucky Derby, or we can list it by winnings. We can come up here and take a look at some reports. Go over to the roster and click on Sportsmaster, and we have 218 horses loaded into the game to run in the prep races. Again, not all the horses will be in at least one prep race, but most of them will be. And as you can see, if we look up here, there's also a bunch of fillies along with the males. And of course, like I mentioned to you, the fillies will be able to do the triple tiara. And we can take a look at the ratings for the horses. And right now they're sorted by name. Click on any column, it'll sort by that column. So let's go and look for dirt rating. And you'll see Angel of the Empire. His card is rated at 94, and you can go right down the list here. There's 2, 4, 6 horses in the 90s, quite a few 80s, and it does get into the 70s and high 60s. So, well, even some lower 60s too. So this gives you a wide range of horses. If you are running any other types of horse races with the TRG game, you can actually use some of the lower echelon horses as filler horses for any races that you run outside of the road to the Triple Crown. Let's go and we'll take a look at the races. And these are all the races that are available in the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown. Now, not all these races are in the schedule of the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown. Some are actually scheduled for the real life races too. And you can see here it tells you how many horses are already preloaded into the field at each of the races. And if you would notice here, like the Sam F. David Stakes, they have no horses entered, but you'll see that there'll be 2 races that will lead up to the stakes race, and those 2 races have a total of 11. So that means that Sam F. David Stakes race in real life had 11 horses in it, and since our game can only handle 10, I needed to split that race up into 2 divisions, or 2 races, or 2 heat races, and then we'll decide after those 2 races which 10 horses get into the Sam F. Davis Stakes race. So, and we'll just go down through here. And I was mentioning that there is an official and a TRG one. Official one will have the real life horses in the fields, while the TRG one will be part of the Triple Crown schedule, and you'll be able to fill them in depending on how well horses did in your preparations. Let's go and turn. And we'll go over to the schedules. If I'll run it in, you can see, like I mentioned, there are 2 schedules. The Road to the Triple Crown, which has all the prep races, and there's no field allocated to the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, or Belmont Stakes. The Triple Crown Series will have the field, will have the real life fields of each of the 3 races, as we get to the point when they are announced in real life. And that's essentially why you have the different issues in the subscription service. Issue 1 will have the real life fields for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. And then you'll see there's the finals, and then the next week next one will be the Black Eye Susan and the Quickness. You see there's no entries, and then we skip over to the Belmont, and it'll have the Belmont and Acorn Stakes there for the fillies. And these will be filled in as we learn what horses will be in the real life races. Now, if you're running the Triple Crown races, we will not fill them in automatically for you. You'll run your prep races, and then at the end of the prep races, we take a quick look here at the schedule. Go all the way down to these. That's the Kentucky, that's the heat races, like that. And now I have the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. You see there's no entries in there, and there will be none in issues 1, 2, or 3, because this schedule is set up for you to fill in the races based on your prep races. And there's the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and the Belmont Acorn. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. So again, each episode will cover 1 month's worth of prep races. So episode 1 will cover weeks 1 to 5, which are January. Issue 2 will cover February, weeks 6 to 9. Issue 3 will be March. It'll cover weeks 10 to 13. And issue 4 will be April. And they'll cover weeks 14 to 16. I should say these are actually going to be called episodes, not issues, so don't want to confuse you with the description service. Okay, so let's go over again what we were going to cover in episode 0. At the intro to the series, you saw the number of horses that are carded. You can do a couple other things here in the report. Here's the jockeys, so you have an idea how many jockeys there are available. There are 193, and you can see their ratings. Let's go back over to the horses. There's this thing that I created called horse schedules. What this does is tell you all the races each horse is in on the date of this. And it's pretty cool information. You can see that Affirmative Lady is in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. It's a grade 2, a race date 4-1. And come down through here, there's Arkansas Derby, airtime, and they're there. And we can go through all these races. Now, since the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont aren't filled in yet with their field, those races will not show up here. And you'll see how, like Bourbon Badge is running in the Rebel State Division 2 race, he can also run in the Rebel Stakes feature race once the 2 division heat races are run. Same thing up here for Blazing 7. There's another feature of this report that you can click on horses with no schedule. Come back up and generate the report. And these are the horses that are not scheduled in any of the prep races. And you see there's 33. So there's an opportunity here for you to curate some races, put them in your into your schedule and add them to the mix too. I imagine a lot of these horses were maybe in the top 100 horses, money-wise so far this year, or maybe they were in a couple of reports that had flagged them as possible contenders, and unfortunately never got an opportunity to run in any of the races. Now, you can also come right over here and click this little button here called Export List. And we're going to export a text file. So we'll go and put this in the game log just so we know where it's at. And we'll label it 2023K. Where's the scheduled races? Okay, and we'll go ahead and save the name. And then we come over here and do export. It'll export the file, and it'll also ask you if you want to open it. So we'll open it up, and voila, there you go. You have a hard copy of all the horses that are not in the race, in any of the races. So if you'd like to add them, you have the little hard copy report, the text file. You can go and browse to pull whatever horses you like in the race. And again, you can see that by just going to the C drive, go to your TRG folder, and then the game log. That's where we pull it, split, and there's the file there. You just click on it, and there's your report. So you can use the report as a reference if you'd like to add some more races, or add some of the horses maybe to some of the prep heat and division races to add a few more horses. But this gives you the opportunity to be a little creative and not have to follow exactly what horses were run in the real life prep races. And since we're here, we'll go ahead and create a race and show you how to put it on the schedule. So we'll go ahead and name this allowance race. And just so I can see track of it, they're looking for data set 2023K, and it'll be for week 2 and allowance race 1. And unfortunately, you have to have separate names for allowance race. Like if you have 10 or 20 in the data set, if you only use one allowance race name, each time that you change the field, it's going to change, and you're going to lose the fields for the other allowance races that you created. So in order to keep that from happening, you make the name unique by putting something like I did, and we can select the racetrack. I'm going to run it on Thistledown. Thistledown is one of the racing tracks that's available as an add-on. We'll go ahead and use it here. We'll select the distance 7 furlong. Condition, we'll go with sloppy. Thistledown's actually located in Ohio, so it's probably snowing in January. And then we tell it which day, so since we want to run it in week 2, that looks like that should be around the 14th. So select the 14th. And if you want to handicap the race, leave it 0. Otherwise, you can type in a weight there, and that's how much weight all the horses will carry. And then we can select 3-year-olds. Horses that only has 3-year-olds, And if you want to mix male and female horses, just go with open. Now we can select the competition level, and we'll select allow. You can also select any of these other ones, or you can actually select any ones that you want. And then you'll need, once you do that, for the person, we'll make it like 10,000. I already put an entry fee in if you want to track horses if you're running your own stable. But down here in the Kentucky Derby Series trades, I would suggest that you use no victory points because it truly isn't a race that you want to actually track for the Kentucky Derby. It's just an extra race to get some of the horses that did not have an opportunity to run in any prep races to run a few races for you. Now again, maybe you might want to make a grade 1, 2, or 3. Then you may want to actually give some victory points to the horse if they come in first, second, third, or fourth. Or you can maybe do a listed race or a black type race, whatever you like. Just the idea is you're going to create up some races that will allow you to enter some of the horses that did not have an opportunity to run in the props. And just so you understand how 0 through 6 works, first place 0 for 0 if you decide to use this one, they get 10 points, second place 4, third place 2, and fourth place 1. So the best one in the prep races is for 100. They have 100 for first, 40 for second, 20 for third, and 10 for fourth. And that's Kentucky Derby victory points. Now, this number 5 I only use for the 3 Triple Crown races just so I can track the top 10 horses via victory points after they've completed each of the three Triple Crown races. And they all have use option 5, which is 150 points, 60 points, 30 points, and 15. So, anyway, all it needs to do then is just save it. Well, first, let's go ahead and view the racetrack, since maybe you may not have seen it. This will sound a pretty generalized racetrack. The only thing back here is there used to be a drainage type problem, I guess, at one time. So this here introduces a new space, the yellow space. And the yellow space is actually pretty wet in this section here. So first you have the normal brown that you almost exclusively see in the turn. So you have that, and then this one, the yellow, and then another brown. Essentially what that's telling you, costs you 1 point to move in, 1 point to move out. This costs you 1 point to move in, but 2 points to move out. This costs you 1 point to move in and 2 points to move out if it was separate. Since when you're moving a horse, you go from here to here, you always check this one to see if there's any cost to move out, and only use this one if there isn't a space right before it telling you how many, if there's more points that are needed. In other words, you have another deterrent forcing the horse to use up some more forward points than they would normally do just to go through any of the normal ones. So anyway, this is a little interesting thing that if you lane 1, 2, or 3, you may need to avoid and may swing out the lane 4 to try to save a couple movement points, because that'll cost you 1, 2, 3. That'll cost you 4 extra movement points to go through those 3 races. Okay. So anyway, we have our save. The race is now updated. If you wanted to fill in the race, you can on the field now, or you can wait until it actually pops up on the schedule. We're going to wait till it pops up on the schedule. So we'll go over to the schedule and we'll create a schedule, which is an actually modified one. We're going to modify the road to the Triple Crown. And here the schedule for the Triple Crown for names of each of the different race cards. So we were hoping to put that race in too. And if you notice over here, the allowance race is now here. There is no asterisk. So we'll need to this center field eventually. Once with the asterisk is to tell you that there's already a field associated with that race. So we have the allowance race over here. We want to add it to the schedule, so we'll click on link to schedule. You'll see we have the Sham and the Jerome races here. All we need to do is take the allowance race and just drag it over here. And now within the card, you just have to update the card so it's now available. And you can put in the race card you want if you're actually building a schedule. Here we're not doing anything more. So we've updated the race card. Now let's click on race. Click 1, you see spot as your note, you'll click on 2 again. Now you have all 3 races. So we're done with that. So let's go and look in the schedule again. We'll run the schedule. Click on the road to the Triple Crown. And we'll go to week 2. And voila, there's the allowance race. And now we can add the field if we want right here. And of course, in order to have the races available to run, you just click on the lock. The lock tells the game that you're done editing and modifying the race. It's ready to go. And when you click on run next scheduled race, whichever is the first one in the list, will be the one that the game starts up. So anyway, that's how you get an allowance race, and if you decided later that you really didn't want to run it, you can always click on the skip option and it'll skip the race and won't run it. So I think that's going to be it for TRG Central for episode 0. Again, episode 0 is just to cover the new series and to explain how the 2023 Road to the Triple Crown subscription service will be used. So again, this is Gary from TRG Central signing off. I would expect issue 1 will be available in a day or two, and again, it will cover all the all the January prep races from week 1 through 5. Again, TRG Central signing off.